be doing this. Also, support who supports us, supports the sport. You know, we have Nitto, we have Jeep, we have 4-Wheel Parts, Laser Nut, Off the Grid, Warren, PRP, King, Griffin Radiators, MBRP, AMSOIL, Big O Dodge, Titan Fuel Systems, Fuel Tanks, Steal It, ARB, Genrite, ESOB, Brannick. So if it wasn't for those guys, we wouldn't be here, but we'll be qualifying here shortly. And there's a great aerial view of qualifying right there. The Hammer King safety crew's getting everything dialed in. And once again, this is the 2019 PCI Race Radios Rampage at Ridgecrest. I believe first off the line should be Jeremy Jones in the 4837. He's racing in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. They are older 4400 cars. They're a single shock, 37-inch DOT tires. So we have five different ULTRA4 classes racing alongside with Moore and Snore. They're going to be qualifying their Class 10s today. There's a great shot at the start line. We are about to kick off qualifying for the 2019 PCI Race Radios Rampage at Ridgecrest. There's our one and only Texas Jesus, getting everything dialed in. The Hammer King safety crew has done a great job keeping everything lined up today, along with the Hammer King production crew, bringing you guys a live show. Already having lots of people getting tuned in. Thank you for everybody here on site and everybody back home. ULTRA4racing.com/live. Get on the Facebook, hit that share button. Get on Instagram, hashtag it up. We'll have live stream YouTube. There's quite a few Class 10s out there. So just before we get all this action, I'm going to give a quick shout out to some of our main sponsors that makes this possible. Nitto, Can-Am, Amada, Monster Energy, Optima Battery, 4-Wheel Parts, Jeep, KM Seal Wheels, King Shocks, Amsoil, Griffin Radiators, Titan Fuel Tanks, Method Race Wheels, Tensor Tires for the UTVs, Genrite, Warn, The Fab School. I'm in a Share My Coach right now, and the AC's feeling great. Yukon Gear and Axle, Steal It, ESOB, US Gear, ARB, MBRP, Renegade Race Fuel is on site, Reno Tahoe, Rigid Industries, RCV, the UTV Axle, Big O Dodge, Savvy Off-Road, PRP, HCR, Off the Grid, Vision X, Brannick Motorsports, and PCI. So again, support that who supports the sport. Thank you to everybody that makes this possible. Mr. Dave Cole himself has been walking around, getting everything lined out today, doing a great job. We will be live qualifying any minute. Got a lot of family and friends tuning in back home right now, so thanks for the love there. And all over the world, we see some of our Europe buddies tuning in. It's pretty crazy to see how big this sport has actually grown. Look at all those cars we have out there getting ready to qualify. This is qualifying for the 2019 PCI Race Radios Rampage at Ridgecrest. It's northeast of Los Angeles, about 2.5 hours, out in the middle of the Mojave Desert, roughly 2 hours north of where the birth of King of the Hammers came from. So it's very similar terrain in the desert. And there are no rock sections this year. This is our second year racing out here. Last year we threw in a few rock sections, but since we are teaming up with Snore and More, they are mainly two-wheel drive vehicles, so this is going to be a strictly 54-mile desert loop. And I've talked to quite a few people out there, and there are some big, nasty whoops in tomorrow's race. Today's qualifier, it's about, like I said, about a 1.2 mile loop. I'm going to say they're just going to be under 1 minute for the fast guys. And we took our Can-Am out there earlier and just did a little sightseeing. And you kind of start there at the flags. You go up and around that little hill, and you just kind of wiggle, turn left, wiggle, wiggle, turn left, and then go around the mountain, come back down, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fast. There's a couple, hard bank turns there, but and there are some rocks. There's the size of bricks out there in some of these ruts. So we'll see, but you just have to hang it all out on the line if you want to start out front tomorrow. And tomorrow it's going to be dusty. So I think if you can push hard in qualifying, that's really going to be in your favor. And you can see those PCI radio flags just barely blowing. There's a wind, but not much. Wind is the racer's friend, especially on race day. It's going to be very helpful to have a co-driver. There's a lot of people running single-seaters, but that co-driver is going to be very helpful tomorrow running in that dust. So again, we will be racing, qualifying here shortly for the KMC Hard Charger Award. They will reimburse the entry fee to the top person in each class. So that's a huge shout out to KMC. We're giving you a little blip of some of our Instagrams out there. So you can kind of see right here is our social media. You can hashtag it, you can do all the ats, and we'll put it up there throughout the live show. So this is all our social media that's going on out there. There's our producer, Dan Campbell. So if you hashtag it and tag ULTRA4, we may throw up your post later. And how cool is it for all this social media to be able to blow it out to the world? Tomorrow, it'll be one at a time, and leaving the line in 30-second increments for the top 50, and then from there on out, it'll be in 15-second increments. Tomorrow's race will be on corrected time, just like King of the Hammers. Our next race will be in October for the 4-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship, which is just outside of Reno, Nevada. So make sure to check out Reno, Tahoe, Lake Tahoe area. Absolutely amazing out there. That's October 18th and 19th. And that'll wrap up our season. We'll give out our East and Western Championship alongside with the National Championship. The Western Series is sponsored by LaserNut. The Eastern Series is sponsored by 4-Wheel Parts. And then early February will be the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers. So be sure to tune in for that whole week of action. We're bringing back the motos this year. We'll have the shootout. The 4-Wheel Parts Everyman Challenge. The T1s are coming back. And of course, the 4-Wheel Parts Everyman Challenge. And the big day, the 4400 Unlimited class will be racing on Friday once again. So it looks like we'll be starting with a couple of our More and S'more Class 10 cars. And I'll be honest, I don't know them at all, so I'll do my best to just call some action shots. But it's really cool to get teamed up and just have this high of a car count out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Hammer King safety crew is making sure the course is clear, making sure everybody is where they need to be. Safety is obviously our #1 concern. They started showing up on Tuesday to start marking this course, so the Hammer King crew has been out here all week battling the heat. Remember, it's hot, but last year was ridiculous hot in the over 110 degrees if I remember right. Today's been, mid 90s or so. It's cooled down to a gentle 90 degrees right now. The sun is full shine today. Like I said, you can see the PCI flags just barely moving, so there is a breeze, but it is not much today.
guys got the sickest spot on the hill.
Pretty good. Clean the whole course.
Just trying to figure out where it's going.
Oh yeah, if you look back there, you see, we can see the back there.
Is this way? Is out that way?
Yeah, if you stood right there, you'd see everything, and you wouldn't be
Getting everybody staged up
Walk out of here, I was just hoping.
for the qualifying for the 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. We are racing alongside Moore and
But it's pretty
Snore.
close to this rock. It's just super close.
Be sure to hop on our Facebook, hit that share button, get on Instagram, hashtag it up. Tag all your fellow racers, all your fellow sponsors, and ULTRA4. Here's all the action right now. There's Pearson, I believe, with Lindsay. They're having a little bit of fun showing off the social media aspect of things. Dotting every I, crossing every T, making sure everything is set to qualify for today's KMC Hard Charger Award. Tomorrow's race will have the main pit here at the start-finish line, and then out on the course there's 4 A, B, C, and D pits out there.
No, that's
Again, it's a 54-ish mile loop. The 4600 class will be taking 2 laps. The 45, 48, 4900 class, they'll all be doing 3 laps. And the 4400 class will be running 4 full laps. Roughly 216 miles for those guys. And I've talked to a lot of people. The first 20 miles is extremely big, whooped out whoops. So it'll be a separate the man from the boys, the women from the girls tomorrow, right out of the gate.
Sounded like Dick to me.
Can you say that into the microphone, please?
Explain this to her. Why would somebody build the fort up here?
I was bouncing around the pits yesterday afternoon, just kind of chatting with everybody, getting caught up. Everybody's ready to have a lot of fun. Lots of people were working on their cars. Heard a few people are going to be switching out some transfer case gears, some transmissions. Lots of people are having just the new car blues, getting everything shook out during pre-running earlier today and last night. The pits have been busy.
It's really just don't stand high.
Paul Horschel and his desert cars out there. He is fresh off his San Felipe Ultra 4 win.
I mean, the live show will pick it up.
He's definitely one of the big names everybody's looking forward to see run today and tomorrow. All 3 Campbells are out there. All 3 Gomez's are out there. Cody Addington in the Red Dragon. Cameron Steele in the Laser Nut fully independent suspension car. Jordan Pellegrino's out with us in his fully independent suspension car. Looks like we'll be live here any minute. They are off. There's the KMC clock. We'll see what kind of time he can put up in that Class 10 car. This is from our live drone. How cool is that? They can make it clear around this course, I believe. And these ruts are pretty deep. So I suspect we'll see some bicycling today. And this is the uphill section. They'll hit a pretty good little left, get a little bit of airtime there, really pushing hard to qualify well for tomorrow's race. This is an independent rear suspension buggy, 2-wheel drive, A-arm front suspension, Class 10 in Moore and Snore. That Tri-Ace car is really moving well. This is their backyard. This is where they race quite a bit. This is one of their favorite courses. We've been working close with both sanctions, making sure everything runs smooth. So he's going to be sub 130 there. Looks like we have another Class 10. Looks like that'll be a single seat car. Snore is the Southern Nevada Off-Road Enthusiast Club. Moore is the Mojave Off-Road Enthusiast Club. Rear engine buggies, most of them I do believe. I believe we'll have 4 cameras out on course for tomorrow's race. Today we've got the 2 cameras plus the live drone that can cover most of this 1.2 mile qualifying course. It's great to see the KMC clock there in the bottom right. Making his way around the backside of this little hill. And people were pre-running this course all day long. I ran it in the Can-Am earlier this morning, and there the deeps were deep. Sorry, the ruts were deep, so I can't imagine how they are right now. But that should have gotten rid of most of those loose boulders that were in there this morning. There's the 1085 finishing his qualifying course. .1056 taking off for his qualifying run for the 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. This is the last race of the Laser Nut Western Series for the Ultra 4 classes. People are still fighting for the Western champion, the national championship. They need all the points they can get, so this race really means a lot to a lot of these guys. You can see some of these corners are really dug out. They lose a lot of momentum, doing a lot of wheel spinning. I hope you guys are back home or is having as much fun as we are here on site, just outside of Ridgecrest, California, in the middle of the Mojave Desert. Just off of Trona Road. The 1056 finishes his qualifying lap right around that 130 mark. We have another Class 10. And most of these are manual transmissions, so you can really see them wheel spin right out of the gate. They are rear wheel drive, fully independent rear suspension. Pre-running was available all day today. We closed that down right around 3:30. So people are hitting the 54-mile loop and this 1.2-mile qualifier. Doing a little testing and tuning. Lots of people were shock tuning today, just learning the course, making notes in their GPS. There's that left-hand turn where the people are going to be bicycling later. I do believe they're going to be pushing hard. I've heard a lot of people talk about how dusty it's going to be tomorrow, so they really want to push hard to get up front. Crosses the PCI finish line for his qualifying course. .10:58 on course. M&M Motorsports. It'll be interesting to see the fast times for the Class 10 compared to the rest of the classes out there. And do remember, everything I do say is unofficial until we get everything checked out. Make sure the Hammer King crew gets everything dialed in. They're working right alongside with Snore and more. So the KMC clock you do see is unofficial, but it'll give us a good ballpark to see where these guys are at. So he was right around that 124 mark. Green flag for the 10:15. Thank you everybody back home for staying tuned in. ULTRA4racing.com/live. We are qualifying for tomorrow's race. This is the KMC qualifier. Tomorrow's race will be on corrected time. Today's qualifying course is 1.2 miles long. So it's going to be quick, it's going to be fast. These guys are going to be pushing hard to start up front tomorrow. It's supposed to be right around 100 degrees tomorrow, mid-afternoon. So heat will play its toll once again out here in the Mojave Desert. But this is such a cool place to race. This is our second time racing here. Get a little bit of airtime there in the Class 10.
Hey guys, just so you know, your heads are like in the bottom of my shot. It's supposed to tell you.
Everything's running smooth thanks to S'more, Nor, and the ULTRA4 Hammer King crew out there. This is a different qualifying course than we ran last year, but it's similar. This is the 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. It's been a little warm, but it has been absolutely beautiful. They did have a huge earthquake. There's a good bicycle. That's the corner I suspect will give a lot of people a lot of issues because it's kind of a little off camber. The ruts are extremely deep, and people are going to be pushing. And then if you're not riding that edge, you're not running hard enough. But there was a pretty good earthquake just a few months back out here, but everything seems to be pretty much back to normal. But that was an interesting thing to some of the locals I was talking to earlier today. Ridgecrest has been extremely open-armed to everybody in the off-road community. There's signs all over town. It's really cool to see all the hubbub there in town and out here on course. I believe that's the 1053.
No, you're fine.
Snore is the Southern Nevada Off-Road Enthusiast Club. Moore is the Mojave Off-Road Enthusiast Club. It's their Class 10s that are qualifying right now. We've kind of teamed up with those guys. It's a fun car count. We've got, I believe, roughly 90 cars in the ULTRA4 series, and I think they have over 50, I heard. There's that same little corner. It must be getting blown out, so it'll be interesting to see how the four-wheel drive guys get through there. Obviously, they pre-ran earlier, but the course changes all the time, so it'll be interesting to see how blown out that corner actually gets, or if they can maybe put their passenger front in the driver's rut and kind of use a little different angle there. You can kind of get a little different bite with the vehicle if you go that route. I believe this is our first ULTRA4 Jeremy Jones in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. 4837, Jeremy Jones on course. So remember to check out that KMC wheels timer, because KMC is giving out that hard charger award once again to the top in each class. They'll reimburse them their entry fee. So that's a lot of motivation to run hard, but also you want to start up front. Jeremy Jones is running that Trent Fab machine. He's been very successful in ULTRA4 in the Legends class. And we got some great camera action out there. So that corner right there is the one that was getting a little blown out, but it looks like the four-wheel drive is helping it. He definitely slowed down a little bit, but he's hard on that throttle. They do have single shocks, 37-inch DOT tires, has to have a solid front axle, 2 seats side by side in the Brannick Motorsports Legends class. I think we have roughly 19 Legends cars in tomorrow's race.
Right through the rocks, they made her move.
So roughly 125. Again, everything I say is unofficial, but roughly 125 for Jeremy Jones. Up next is going to be another Class 10, it looks like. And my guess was right around that 1 minute mark, so we have definitely some time to make up. We'll see if some of the 4,400 guys can really push hard. And we have some very fast 45s, 48s.
They sell plants that will kill you.
The UTVs will be very fast on this short course also.
Yeah, flowers.
Tucker Racing, 157. Running this 1.2 mile loop.
Just set it down there.
There's been a lot of people working really hard to make all this happen. So thank you everybody here on site and back at home. ULTRA4racing.com/live. This is the last race in the Laser Nut Western Series. We've already finished up the 4 Wheel Parts Eastern Series race. Up next will be the Nationals. The 4 Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship will be October 18 and 19 in Reno, Nevada. That's where we'll finish up our season.
No, you're fine.
Tucker Racing finishing his qualifying run.
He'll say something here, Noy. Yeah, I'd imagine so.
No, your friends will text you.
There's a great shot from our live drone. I can't quite tell. That could be... I think that's Dawson Allington. He actually has his mom riding with him this weekend, Melanie. Mark, his dad usually rides with him, but they came out here with no pit support, so they figured they'd throw Melanie in the co-driver's seat so Mark can do the pits. So it's her first time hopping in the car, and I chatted with him a little bit last night actually that was today after their pre-run, and she was all smiles, had fun, said Dawson was doing great. So it's great to see Dawson back in action. He had some health issues, but he's really coming through, so they're just a great race family. They just traveled all the way out to Crandon here recently. Baby Jeep Racing. Number 4695. That's a TJ base. This is our 4600 Spider Trax stock class. They have to have a stock frame, 35-inch DOT tires. And I mean, this Jeep started out as just going to the mall. So it's great to see you can bring out almost anything and race with us here in Ultra 4. He's running hard out there. Dawson really throwing down a good time. Heading towards the PCI checkered flag for his qualifying run. We do have 6 4600 Spider Trax vehicles racing with us this weekend, and that's a fun class to watch because it's a budget-friendly class, so it's really great to see those guys. They have a great camaraderie. There's another Class 10, the 159, running with More or Snore.
You want me to yell it?
There's the KMC clock on that lower right. Thank you for handing out the Hard Charger Award this evening. Also have to give a huge shout out to PCI Radios, Nitto Tires, Laser Nut, King, Brannick, Can-Am, Jeep, Monster, Spider Trax, Optima, 4 Wheel Parts, Share My Coach, Factor 55, Amada, Rigid. Remember to support those who support us. Without those guys, we would not be racing or having a live show this weekend. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist. I will be with you all evening and all day tomorrow starting at 6 a.m. California time, 8 a.m. Central time. And we'll be racing, I believe the finish line quits right around 8 o'clock tomorrow. So it's going to be 14 hours of racing. It's going to be a long, fun day. So be sure to tune in off and on all day long. ULTRA4racing.com/live. Put it on the TV. Put it on the out in the garage. Use your cell phone. ULTRA4racing.com/live. Here's the 4895. I believe that's Jacob Peak in the Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Stan Haynes has really stepped up this year and sponsored the Legends class, so huge shout out to him and Brannick Motorsports. He's been around the sport for a very long time, helps a lot of people out, so great to see him step up and really join the Ultra 4 family even more. So there's Jacob Peak right there, still running. He's got a solid axle car. The social media is blowing up. Thank you, everybody back at home and all over the world for tuning in. You can even tune in on site. This live show kind of came up last second. I was supposed to be back at home at a shrimp bowl right now with family and friends. We got a friend from New Zealand, Chloe, over there. So shout out to all you guys for tuning in. Make sure to hit the social media, hashtag, tag everybody, share it on Facebook. Man, it's back. It's fun to be back. Jacob Peak still running his race for his KMC qualifier right around that 2-minute mark. Remember, everything I do say is unofficial.
So that's they actually use like the Lucas oil? Yeah, they use Lucas oil and then they'll go up the mountain.
So here's the 45-44. That is going to be Croy Robert in the 4500 Yukon gear and axle class. They've been around the sport for the very long time. They're new to the 4500 class this year. So huge shout out to Yukon Gear and Axle.
How we were going to run I was thinking the whole time coming out here in my head, when they talked about doing it, I thought, so we're going to run our trophy trucks through all these rocks. Yeah. I was expecting to climb like
There's that long left sweeper out there. I believe we have 11 cars running in the 4500 Yukon gear and axle class. We've got roughly 32 in the 4400 unlimited class. Robert Croy on his KMC qualifying run as we speak. Right around 140 will be the ballpark average time to beat in the 4500 Yukon gear and axle class. Up next, the 4874. Is that Dave Hartman, I believe? Yes, it is. He's running a Jimmy's chassis. I was chatting to him this morning after his pre-run, and he was saying how tough that first 20 miles is. It's really going to be tough on these cars. So instead of a sprint race, it's going to be kind of try to save the car until that last lap was kind of the consensus I heard this morning. Dave Hartman was a rookie last year and has hit most of the races and has done very well. I believe he's building a new 4800 car, sticking with Jimmy's once again for next season. Dave Hartman hitting that 1 minute mark as we speak. The 4874 Jimmy's chassis looking great. Jimmy's 4x4 has been in this sport for a very long time. They build some great chassis. So it's going to be very close to Jeremy Jones' time. Roughly 1:28. Dave Hartman, unofficially, roughly 3 seconds over Jeremy Jones. This Jaden Kai, nope, number 31. Matt Tribino. He's in the 4400 Unlimited class. He's our first 4400 Unlimited car to go today. So he'll set the fast time, and we'll see how long it'll stick. There's a lot of big names, heavy hitters. He's running a solid axle in the 4400 class, which is fine, for rock crawling back in the woods. But in this open desert, these IFS cars are really going to shine. You can see him carrying that left front. So that on that backside, that hard left corner coming back uphill a little bit is going to really play its toll on a lot of these cars. But Tribino's looking pretty smooth. We've been waiting all day long. People have been wrenching on their cars, tuning, shock tuning, pre-running, but now it is qualifying. It'll be roughly a 1:28 unofficially. So similar time to Hartman. But we do have 5 classes qualifying today. I believe this is going to be Travis Riley. He's fairly local to this area. Let's see if I can get a number. I believe, yes, that's Travis Riley. .4504. Heading out for his KMC qualifying run for tomorrow's 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. Today's course is a 1.2 mile lap. Tomorrow's loop is roughly 54 miles of wide open, whooped out desert sections. A little bit of go fast sections, a lot of deep whoops, and you have a great aerial view right there, and that's what a lot of this course looks like. Pretty rutted out. The course is very clearly marked. Everybody has their GPS, but it's going to be dusty tomorrow. I chatted with Travis Riley yesterday quite a bit. He went out pre-running and smoked a tire right out of the gate. He was a little bummed about that. They were changing that right when I walked up on him. But they said it's a fun course. They're here to have a good time, and they brought the whole family out here. His wife was out here. I saw the kids running around. ULTRA4 is very, very family friendly. The KMC clock at that bottom. Travis Riley with roughly a 1:39 unofficially. Looks Looks like this will be a UTV that possibly could be Cole Clark. I believe he's number 24, maybe? That's definitely Cole Clark, number 24. I chatted with him yesterday. He ran the whole course. He said the car's good. It's solid. It's a little heavier than it could have been, he said, because this has no rocks in it, but he wanted to just kind of leave the car alone. Last year, it was his first year, I believe, and he ran very well. And he's just finding the weak links and all that. And he said the car is very beefed up. Upgraded all the weak spots, got the good axles, the good hubs in it, and Cole Clark can really drive. He's teamed up with Jimmy's. He's doing very well in the points this year in his UTV, running in the 4900 Can-Am class. And this is a fun class to race. Anybody can go get one of these from the dealer, do some minor safety upgrades, upgrade the suspension and axles a little bit here and there, and you can have a legit fast race machine. So I think fast of the day is roughly a 125. We'll see Cole Clark's going to be very similar to that. So unofficially a 127. So Cole Clark really pushing hard in today's KMC qualifier. Up next, is that the 223?
Good. Can't really see what I'm doing. So.
I'm sorry about that. I'm drawing a blank right now, but number 223 on course.
Yeah, it's like a double negative.
I already had to stick it straight up. There's no way to get it in.
That's Shane Smith. He was new last year, and I believe that's the car he wrecked pretty bad and ended up borrowing one of Dave Cole's old spec cars. So great to see him get his car back in action and racing with us. He's racing in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Shane Smith on course for the KMC qualifier. Tomorrow they will be taking off one at a time. The top 50 will be in 30-second increments, and after that will be in 15-second increments. So that just shows you how many cars will be on course. The dust will be thick, so qualifying well in today's KMC qualifier really means a lot. So unofficially, roughly a 136 for Shane Smith. And unofficially, I believe Jeremy Jones still has the fast time in the Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Up next is Bailey Cole, son of King of the Hammers himself, Dave Cole, the 4854 in his Trent Fab machine. This is another Legends car in the Brannick Motorsports Legends class. And he really drives this car hard. He's running the Nitto tires. This is a single shock car, but in qualifying, he'll be mid-pack with the 4400 guys, I suspect. He's really proved himself this year. Well, years past also. Bailey Cole really drives hard. I suspect a very fast time from him. His co-driver, Tom. They've been buddies for a long time. I believe Tom's a local to Ridgecrest, so he knows this place like the back of his hand. So that's another huge advantage out here. And that back corner's definitely getting dug out, but this four-wheel drive really makes a huge difference. The solid axle Trent Fab machine. You can see they've got the shocks dialed in. Those Nitto tires really putting the traction to the ground. Bailey Cole gets a little bit of air there. He's running a great qualifier. I believe this is going to be the fastest time of the day so far. Unofficially a time of 1:16. So Bailey Cole almost takes off 10 seconds from Jeremy Jones in similar cars. So unofficially, Bailey Cole with a 1:16. Great run. Up next, Edwin Abd, 44.75. He's in the unlimited class. He's been around a long time. He bought that car last year for Mike Boo. And he said it's night and day difference compared to his old car. And he's having a lot of fun with it. So Edwin Abd out on course. He's our second unlimited car. So we'll see what kind of time he can put up next to Matt Tribino. His time was a 1:28. And during tomorrow's races, we'll have several different classes out on course, but you are racing against your own class. And tomorrow's race will be on corrected time. We should have roughly 32 unlimited cars qualifying today for tomorrow's 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. Hope everybody back home's having fun watching all over the world. We've got a huge following because we have ULTRA4 Europe, we have ULTRA4 New Zealand. So we got people all over tuning in. I'm sure Richard Crossland, Drew Wright, Jim Marsden, all those guys are watching patiently at home. They just had a race over the weekend that actually got canceled due to some issues they had over there. So tough break for them, but they're antsy with, so roughly a 1:28 unofficially for Edwin Abd. So it's going to be really close between Matt Tribino and Edwin Abd. I believe up next is going to be Brandon Thompson. You've seen him on American Chopper. 5150. He's brothers of Joe Thompson, WFO, builds all the Gomez cars. That is definitely a fabricating family. He races a lot of the NorCal series. That's kind of his backyard. But Brendan Thompson out on course, 5150. So we'll see if he can beat that 1:28 mark. This is another solid axle machine. Here comes the tricky left-hand corner. And you can see him roosting a little bit. It's getting rough, but he's still on course all over the throttle. Brendan Thompson driving another WFO car. 5150 energy drink. See him sawing the wheel pretty good. Looks like the car's still in good shape. So he'll take it back to camp, give it a quick shakedown. Looks like we have another Class 10 getting ready to take off. They're part of either More or Snore, the Mojave Off-Road Racing Enthusiast, and the Southern Nevada Racing Off-Road Racing Enthusiast Clubs. Number 1099. That's another very competitive class because the cars are very similar in style. Rear engine, rear independent suspension, two-wheel drive. Like I said, I believe most of them are manual. Transmission, huge shocks, all four corners. Lots and lots of wheel travel. we can't get enough love to all of our sponsors out there, because without those guys, we wouldn't be racing here today. We would not be having a live show. So thanks to Dave Cole and Hammer King, Nitto Tire, Can-Am, Amada, Monster Energy, Optima Battery, 4-Wheel Parts, Jeep, KMC Wheels, King Shocks, Amsoil, Griffin Radiator, Titan Fuel Tanks, Method Race Wheels and Tensor Tires for the UTVs, Genrite for the KOH Experience. They're running the course after the race. Warren Fab School, Share My Coach. I'm sitting in one of their campers right now. AC's working great. Yukon Gear and Axle, sponsor of the 4500 class. Steal It, ESOB's the official welder. US Gear, ARB, MBRP, Renegade Race Fuels on site. Reno Tahoe, Rigid Industries, RCV, Big O Dodge. We have another Class 10 getting ready to take off. Savvy Off-Road, PRP, HCR, Off the Grid, Vision X, Brannick Motorsports, and PCI. Looks like that's Josh Atterbury getting lined up. Josh Atterbury, 4693, our second 4600 Spider Trax class. Cracker Fab, Josh Atterbury on course, running his Jeep Cherokee. They're a lot of fun. I believe we have roughly 6 4600 Spider Trax class cars racing in tomorrow's morning race. It'll be the 4600 Spider Trax class and the 4900 Can-Am UTV class taking off the line at 6 a.m. in the morning. So wake up early, get that coffee going, and tune in, ultra4racing.com/live. He has to run single shocks, 35-inch DOT tires. And it has to be a factory frame, mechanical steering, and you can see his front suspension, so that back corner is really getting dug out. That Cherokee bouncing through there pretty good, but Josh Atterbury, Cracker Fab, looking good. And I didn't get a time for Dawson Allington. I apologize for that. We'll see what kind of time Atterbury can throw down. The 4600 Spider Trax stock class is a great class to watch because it's very similar. Most of them are Jeeps, and it's not a big money class, so it's very competitive. They've got great camaraderie. Roughly a 144 for Josh Atterbury. Unofficially. Looks like up next is going to be 1177. He's out running his KMC qualifier. Remember, KMC is going to step up and reimburse the entry fee to the top of each class. So great shout out to KMC Wheels for the Hard Charger Award. You can see the KMC clock in the bottom right corner. Lots of people are running those wheels out there in this weekend's race. It's another solid axle machine. putting down a smooth run, roughly a 133 unofficially. So right now, I believe unofficially it's Bailey Cole with the fastest right now with a 116. Up next, Dan Wyrick, number 218 in a WFO single seat machine built by Joe Thompson. Very similar to the Gomez brothers. He started racing with us last year, number 218. He's racing in memory of his son. Really cool. I've had some great conversations with him. He's a lot of fun and drives hard. So Dan Wyrick on course, our first IFS machine. We'll see if he can bump Bailey Cole's fast time. Remember, they are in different classes. So I believe fast time in the 4400 right now is 128. Running the UFO machine. I think I misspoke earlier. I do apologize. Got a lot of information in my head. Joe Thompson with UFO builds a absolute work of art. And Dan Wyrick's running it hard right now all the way to the finish. Unofficially a 131.
That was Blacker in UFO, right?
For Dan Wyrick. Up next, Bailey Campbell, the first Campbell to run. We do have 3 of them today. That's a 2C IFS solid rear axle machine, Campbell Enterprise. The Campbells have, I believe, 4 cars running today. So Bailey Campbell really pushing hard. Her dad, Shannon, will be racing soon. Her brother, Waylon, will be racing soon. Mama Tammy is out in the crowd watching. See how everybody does today. That car debuted last year, and it's an absolute work of art. Bailey Campbell's really pushing hard, number 35, out of Arizona, running the Nitto Tires Monster Energy machine. Bailey pushing hard all the way to the finish, the PCI. And I believe that's going to be an unofficial 118 for Bailey Campbell. So she's sitting in first place in the 4400 class, but Bailey Cole still has the fastest lap of the day with an unofficial of a 116. So that goes to show how hard Bailey Cole is running. But Bailey Campbell has a great run under the lap, so she'll be top 10, maybe top 20 for sure for tomorrow's race. And a great qualifying for today's KMC qualifier means a lot for tomorrow's race. So we have a Moore or Snore Class 10 out on course right now. And I believe up next may be Cameron Steele, number 48, in the Laser Nut car. It's a fully independent suspension car, IFS and IRS. Cody Wagner put Cameron Steele behind the wheel. Cody Wagner is the sponsor for the Western Series, so thank you, Cody and Laser Nut, for sponsoring the Western Series the last few years. He's really stepped up his program. Great to see him back. Sounds like that Class 10 just got a 1:21 unofficially. And that is Cameron Steele, number 48 with Desert Assassins, Monster Energy. Wayne Israelson riding shotgun, the shot guru himself. We'll see what kind of time Cameron Steele can put out. He is a proven desert driver. He has won the Baja 1000. He races dirt bikes. This guy can do it all. I've worked with him the last few years at King of the Hammers. Just a great, great off-road guy. It'll be very interesting to see what he can make this car do in the desert. He is a Monster Energy athlete. Gets a little out of shape on that back section, but the four-wheel drive did pull him back in. And he's used to running two-wheel drive in his T1. Look at him coming down that hill. He is all over the throttle, using every inch of that suspension that Wayne put in there for him. So this is going to be a fast time. We'll see if he can bump out Bailey Campbell or not. All over the throttle. With an unofficial 117. So Cameron Steele unofficially in first place in the 4400 class. And we were chatting with him before he qualified, and we were thinking the fast guys would be under a minute, but we'll see what happens. I think the course got a lot more tore up than they thought it did. But Cameron Steele is unofficially our leader in the KMC qualifier in the 4400 Unlimited class. Out on course is another Class 10 with More or Snore. Up next, three-time King of the Hammers winner, Shannon Campbell himself will be out on course next. Single seat IFS Campbell chassis. We'll see if he can beat his daughter's time. And Cameron only beat her by about 1 second. So it'll be neck and neck tomorrow morning on the start line with Cameron Steele and Bailey Campbell. I'll bet you the top 5 will all be within a few seconds. But that South Point Class 10 really pushing hard, qualifying for tomorrow's 2019 PCI Race Radio Rampage at Ridgecrest. It's going to be a long, fun day of racing. Got a little slideways. Sounds like a 116. So he may be the fastest of the day unofficially. But off the line next is Shannon Campbell. And you know how hard he pushes. He's always a fun one to watch. The one and only Shannon Campbell. Monster Energy Nitto tires. 3-time winner at the King of the Hammers. We'll see what kind of time Shannon Campbell can throw down. See if he can bump out Cameron Steele. And that's another solid rear end car. Independent front suspension, single seat, Campbell chassis, Nitto tires, Monster Energy. Number 5, Shannon Campbell on course. A true legend in the sport. Using all of that suspension out there. He is really flying. This is going to be a fast time. Shannon Campbell really pushing hard in qualifying today. This could be our new fast time. We'll see. It's going to be close. So unofficially, right around that 117.30 unofficially. So within a 1/10 of a second, I think, of Cameron Steele. So unofficially, if I heard that correctly, less than a 1/10 of a second splits Cameron Steele and Shannon Campbell. So again, I think I heard that correctly. Unofficially, Cameron Steele with a 1:17.22 and Shannon Campbell with a 1:17.30. That is some close finish times. Up next, it sounds like will be number 3, Shannon Campbell, after the Class 10 car class finishes crosses the finish line. Sorry. So the Southern Nevada Off-Road Enthusiast Club and the Mojave Off-Road Enthusiast Club is racing with us this weekend. Moore and Snore. It's great to have just that much more of a car count out here just for that much more action. It's like the 152 crosses the PCI with an unofficial 1:17 time. So these Class 10s are right with our fast Ultra 4 guys. We got to get our... So it sounds like that Class 10 took out one of our flags, so the Hammer King safety crew is going to hustle up and get that checked out. There's another fun social media look. Be sure to tag us on Instagram and Facebook. Hashtag it up. Everybody's having a little bit of fun. Great to have the live show back here. ULTRA4racing.com/live. There's the Desert Assassins out there posing it up. Cameron Steele teamed up with Laser Nut. Number 3, Waylon Campbell. Is he going to be able to beat his dad? Time will tell. It's a very similar car. They're actually currently building him a brand new car. They built the entire chassis in 3 days. The Campbell crew really put in some time there, and they're hoping to race the new car at the Nationals, which is roughly 1 month away, so those guys have a lot of work ahead of them. But today, it's qualifying. Waylon Campbell, number 3. Another monster athlete, Nitto athlete. He's proven to be trying to step outside of his dad's shadow just a tick. He's proving to be extremely fast. Kind of working into his own. So I think we have Class 1s and Class 10s out there qualifying with us. Waylon really pushing hard all the way to the finish line. You can see the PCI flag right there. This is going to be another fast time. Could this be the fastest one of the day? Unofficially a 1:15. So a 1:16.22 unofficially. I think that's the fastest time of the day. Waylon Campbell just bumped out Cameron Steele and his dad by roughly 1 second. So Waylon Campbell, fastest time of the day unofficially. Here's a Brenthal T1 truck right now. See what kind of time he can throw down. Took off his body skins for qualifying to save it for tomorrow. The fast guys are taking off right around 12:45 tomorrow afternoon. So be sure to tune in off and on all day long. ULTRA4racing.com/live. So we have this T1 Unlimited truck on course, but I think another heavy hitter is on deck. Number 9, Paul Horschel, fresh off his great debut at Crandon. He won the San Felipe Ultra 4 race, and he's in a super fast desert car. Paul Horschel's very quiet, but when he puts that helmet on, grabs the steering wheel, he's an absolute animal. It'll be fun to see if he can bump out Waylon Campbell out of that top spot for that KMC Hard Charger Award. So it looks like the Ultra 4 times will stick over this T1. So that Brenthel T1 will be roughly 124. Great run for him. Sorry, I was mistaken. Number 9, that's Brian Crofts. 19 is Paul Horschel. Sorry about that. This is Brian Crofts in that IFS Jimmy's car, and I believe that one's for sale. So Brian Crofts, Synergy Machine, on course, 2-seat IFS Jimmy's chassis. Fiance of Bailey Campbell. So he's got that one currently for sale, and he's going to build one identical to Waylon's, I believe. So that'll be interesting to see. Adding another one to the family. But Brian Crofts on course, number 9. And that car's less than a year old. I believe the first race was King of the Hammers 2019. Finally got all the bugs worked out, and that car's moving good. Number 9, Brian Crofts. So unofficially, a 119.16 unofficially for Brian Crofts. So he's going to be in that top 10, maybe top 15 spot. Great run for him. Looks like number 7 is another T1. I think they've got about a half a dozen of those unlimited trucks racing with Snore and more. They've been qualifying the Class 1s and the Class 10s. So I think we've only seen one Can-Am UTV class out there run, so we still have roughly 20 of those guys to put out there. We've been qualifying for just over an hour. Thank you everybody back home for tuning in. ULTRA4racing.com/live. Number 7, the T1 Unlimited truck.
I am
running strong, running fast.
Hi, Lance.
There's a lot of people tuned in. And I believe the Class 10s have 4 cylinders and the Class 1s have V8s. Getting a little info, thanks Jaron. He races with us quite a bit, but took a little time off. So again, everybody back at home, please hit that share button on Facebook. Show the sponsors a little love. Hit the hashtags. Tag everybody you can. Without social media, we wouldn't be on having a live show right now, so give them some love. Thanks ULTRA4, Dave Cole, and King of the Hammers. The Hammer King production crew's putting on a great show. Right here you see the live drone. We've got extra batteries. We can do a little touch and go and keep qualifying. Action packed. Getting a little off course there, blew that corner. Just dusted one of the camera guys. You know they love that. But on the outside of the corner, you always got to be careful. So unofficially, I believe it's still Waylon Campbell with the 1:16.22 time to beat in the unlimited class. But also Bailey Cole has got a very similar time in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Unofficially a 1:31 for the 1:12. Looks like up next is Chuck Crossland. I hung out with him a little bit last night. The number 4583, running in the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle class. Crossland wadded that car up pretty good in San Felipe, but Spider Trax helped him out a little bit. Got the car back in action, and he's here racing with us. He's been racing with us the last couple years. I believe his wife's probably tuned in right now. She couldn't make the trek, but is loving the live show, I hope. Chuck Crossland on course. So that has to have somewhat of mechanical steering, 37-inch DOT tires, somewhat of a stock frame. Sounds like I heard on the radio, my PCI radio, number 888 ADD Racing, Cody Addington on deck, following Chuck Crossland. 4583. Looking good, looking smooth. Got roughly 10 to 12 of the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle machines out there racing and qualifying today for the KMC Hard Charger Award. And in the hot seat, I believe it's still Waylon Campbell. If that sticks, KMC will reimburse his entry fee. Chuck Crossland with an unofficial 1:39.31. So hot on course is Cody Addington in the Red Dragon, Nitto Athlete, King Shocks, KMC wheels. He's running a single seat IFS Jimmy's car. He stepped up last year at the Stampede and has really proven that he's fast in this unlimited class. Everybody definitely has their bad luck from time to time, like all racers, but Cody Addington will be fast this weekend. That's a fast desert car. Here's that hard left. Looks like he came through there pretty good. Lots of people are looping out just a tick there, but Cody's all over the throttle, making those Nitto tires really throw down that traction. Those King Shocks are working excellent. And he is absolutely sending it down this section, heading towards that PCI flag. This is going to be a fast time. Could it bump out Waylon Campbell? It's going to be close. It's going to be real close. Unofficially 1:15.56. Unofficially the new fastest time, Cody Addington. But following him, number 19, Paul Horschel.
JP Gomez.
So Paul Horschel hot on course. He's going to be fast. But Cody Addington just threw the unofficial fast time for the KMC Hard Charger, 1:15.56. Just under a second faster than Wayland. Great run, Cody Addington. But on course, Paul Horschel, 2-seat IFS machine. He's fresh off his last ULTRA4 win down at San Felipe. Paul Horschel's very quiet when you talk to him. He's extremely smart, builds most of everything on that car. But when you put a helmet and put a steering wheel in his hand, that guy drives the wheels off it. He's led King of the Hammers multiple times in a single-seater and had some issues and whatnot, but he stepped up last year, this single-seater, had a little bit of the new car blues, but I think he's got this thing very, very dialed in. You see the huge fuel tank hanging over that rear axle. It's going to be very close to Cody's time. Be close to Cameron's time, possibly, right around that 117. 117.57 for Horschel. So that's going to put him in that top 5. But so far it is Cody Addington. So here's number 24. I believe that's Chip McLaughlin in Nightmare. That's a Tribe 16 built machine. He had his car out here pre-running today and lost a motor on it, so terrible luck. But Zandy, the team owner, said, Chip, you got more points. You get out there in the car and finish out this season strong. So that roughest team really sticks together. Chip McLaughlin and that straight axle Tribe 16 machine. Nightmare on course. Chip and Zandy just got coached by Luke and Ricky Johnson. They had 2 days with those guys, and I was chatting with them last night, and they said it was extremely helpful. Chip had to fix a few of his bad habits. Zandy is fairly new to ULTRA4, so he learned a lot of great habits and said Luke and Ricky make a great coaching team. So they just had that a few weeks ago, and it's helped them tremendous. So we'll see how that turns out at Nationals. But Chip still heading towards the finish line in Nightmare. Tribe 16 built machine. Adam Shearer back home watching. Roughly a 126. 125.97 for Chip McLaughlin. On course now. 792. It looks like that's a bomber. That's Chris Wicks, and I believe that's Chris and Justin, a father-son team, in that straight axle bomber chassis built by Randy Slauson. So Chris and Justin Wicks. Chris Wicks, the dad's driving. Justin's in the co-dog seat. I just absolutely love the father-son duo a lot of these guys have, or brothers. You know, Jade and Kyle team up. Dawson and his parents, they drive together. It's really cool to see the family really come together and do some bonding out there in the desert. But Chris Wicks in that bomber chassis, those things are super light, super fast. And I believe that exact chassis has won King of the Hammers in years past. It is a proven machine. The KMC clock is ticking. So Chris Wicks with an unofficial 137.54. On course, looks like could be a Gomez car. The live drone has him. And whoever it is hot on the throttle. I do apologize, I missed him at the start. That looks like JP Gomez, I believe, with Gomez Brothers Racing, another Nitto athlete. And he won this race last year, if my memory stands correct. Yes, it does. Can he back up his win this year at Ridgecrest? JP Gomez, UFO, Joe Thompson built machine on course. They've got 3 very similar cars. The Gomez brothers are a lot of fun to watch. They give each other a hard time. They're on the same frequency. They're all the time giving each other the grief. And the Gomez brothers are always having fun out there, and they drive hard. Nitto Tires putting down the dust. So JP Gomez is going to throw down a great time. Could be the new fastest time. We're about to find out. 1:14.19 unofficially will beat out Cody Addington by 1 full second. So unofficially, it is JP Gomez on the pole for the KMC Hard Charger. Looks like another Gomez. I believe that's Raul. Yes, it is. So Raul following his brother JP that just got the fastest time of the day, number 83, Raul Gomez. So that'll be fun to see how the brothers turn out. Raul just did a top 10 racing the Vegas to Reno in his new T1, new to him T1 he bought off of Cameron Steele. Him and his son Darian raced a little desert racing in their Unlimited T1 just a few months back and did very well. Great to see them out there having fun doing everything. Darian's racing UTVs today and tomorrow. But Raul on course, another Nitto athlete. We'll see if he can bump out his brother's time with an unofficial fastest time of the day, 1:14.19. JP Gomez in the hot seat. I was guessing that minute mark, but I think I'm off. I think it's going to be right around JP's time. So that's going to be in the 1:16 area. 1:16.56 unofficially for Raul. So this is another Snore or More car, a class 1 or 10, can't quite tell from here. Texas Jesus getting ready to give him the green flag. There he goes. Looks like he may have missed a gear there. Jerry's Air, number 1065, class 10 car. So that's a 4-cylinder, if I'm not mistaken. Thanks again, Jaron. So I believe in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class, sitting in the hot seat there should be Bailey Cole, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry about that, just had to get a little confirmation. Unofficially, Bailey Cole's time is a 1:15.23. So that's not far off of JP's time. So that's definitely going to be hard to beat in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Bailey Cole in that hot seat. And it's going to be really close between Travis Riley and Chuck Crossland. There's K-Rod in that brand new Jimmy's chassis. I'm sure Randy and Cotton are watching at home, rooting on their son, Cade Rod, Jimmy's Army, in that brand new 4807 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. And I believe Jimmy's is leading the Fab School Manufacturing Cup right now. Cade Rod running the Nitto tires. This is a single shock, straight axle machine to meet the rules, 37-inch DOT tires. Giving it all he's got. They've been testing this car the last couple weeks, but this thing is fresh out of the shop. So an unofficial time for Cade Rod, 1:31.10. So that just goes to show how fast Bailey was pushing with his 115, because Cade Rod can drive and he's 16 seconds faster. Up next, Sean Leonardini, number 7, and a Trent Fab machine, straight axle, in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Hammer King safety crew giving the thumbs up, green flag. Sean is hot on course. Leonardini, Sean Leonardini, hot on course, number 7. Trent Fab Racing. They've got a lot of fast cars in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. And the legend himself, Stan Haynes, Mr. Brannick Motorsports, is the sponsor of the 4800 class, so huge shout out to those guys. They do a lot of custom axles, a lot of custom hubs, so shout out to Brannick Motorsports. Go check them out. Made in the USA. On deck, Daniel Markley, the number 777, running the 4900 UTV Can-Am class. On deck. But Sean, number 7, on course. That Trent Fab car is doing good. Pushing hard, staying smooth. Looking for that clean air tomorrow. And I do believe they're starting in qualifying order, not necessarily class order tomorrow. So the fast guys can be out front. So Sean's got a pretty quick time with an unofficial time. 1:32.60 for Sean Leonardini. 1:32.60 for Sean. Up next, number 777, Daniel Markley. And he's running the Can-Am Off-Road UTV class. So huge shout out to Can-Am for sponsoring the 4900 class. Our whole safety crew runs around in those, setting up course, and they're a lot of fun. I ran around this short course this morning. Daniel Markley on course. Thank you for everybody back home for all the love. We're having a lot of fun back here. I hope you guys are too. The ULTRA4racing.com/live. The live show we're having a lot of fun, and it'll be back in full force for the 4-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship in Reno, Nevada, October 18th and 19th. Let's go check out the Lake Tahoe, Reno, Tahoe area. That'll be our final race for the Nationals. So this is our second UTV on course. We'll see what kind of time the 777 Daniel Markley can throw down. I think Cole Clark's right around that 127 unofficially. Unofficial 130.55 for Daniel Markley. So there's a great shot for the Nitto National Championship, October 18th and 19th at the Wild West Motorsports Park. That is our final race of the year. Got another Class 10 car taking off now, the number 1036. So that Class 10 car is still rolling out on course for the KMC qualifier for this year's 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. The sun is starting to set just a little bit, so coming back towards the checkered flag, the sun is directly in their eyes. So that's going to play a little bit of a factor, so it was definitely a bonus to line up early for qualifying. And so far, unofficially, it is Mr. J.P. Gomez, Gomez Brothers Racing, with the fastest time of the day, unofficially a 1:14.19. And remember, he won this race last year, so is there a little pressure on him? He's showing that he's not scared. They were all smiles this morning when they got here. We've got another T1 Unlimited truck. Hatch Racing, number 91, that's a Jimco truck. So on deck is KC Shear, number 79. He is the brother of our current King of the Hammers champion, Jason Shear. Jason Shear's our only back-to-back King of the Hammers winner. And him and Shannon Campbell, Jason Shear and Shannon Campbell are our only 3-time winners of King of the Hammers. But we have a stacked field going into 2020. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a big year. It's going to be busy. Lots and lots going on in 2020. Thank you, everybody, for all the love all over our social media platforms. ULTRA4 Racing, King of the Hammers, ultra4racing.com/live. There's the great graphic, for the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers. January 31st through February 9th in Johnson Valley, California, just a couple hours south of here. There's number 79, KC Shear, team awesome in his Can-Am. We'll see what he can do. He was having some drivability issues this morning, but they got it all tuned up and it's running good. Number 79, KC Shear, running his Can-Am in the 4900 Can-Am class. Casey Shear's always got a smile on his face. Great to see him out here doing what he loves. Making dust in that Can-Am. Thanks again to PCI Race Radios. That's where I'm getting all my unofficial information. KC Shear running a great race. Like I said, I think it's Cole Clark with an unofficial 1:27 time to beat. So Casey's going to have to really hammer down to get close to him. And remember, everything I do say is unofficial until we dot the I's, cross the T's, get everything official. We'll have that tonight. So go to ULTRA4racing.com for all the official updated information later on tonight, so Casey can take off at 6 in the morning. So roughly a 1:41.
These flies are dropping.
Oh, they're getting you.
Yeah.
Off the line next is number 67, Lauren Healy.
Dust ring around it. Of course.
And I believe he's leading the points in the Western Series in his UTV in the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. But you definitely know Lauren Healy with the Fun Haver team. He's teamed up with Vaughn Gittin Jr. this year, and they're doing a lot of the publicity. They're having fun doing a lot of those cool little commercials. Another Nitto athlete, MBRP exhaust. KMC wheels from the get-go. He always runs those red KMC wheels on his Ultra 4 buggy as well, and he did not bring that this weekend. He took a little bit of a tumble at Crandon and decided to get the car back to 100% before he raced it again. Really getting geared up for the 4-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship next month. But look at that UTV flying through there, running those Nitto UTV tires. This is going to be maybe the fast time for UTV today. It's going to be roughly that 1:21 mark. Lauren Healy. So unofficially a 1:21.43 for Lauren Healy. Bumped out Cole Clark by 6 seconds. So he's sitting that KMC hard charger. Sean Rance Sr., I believe, taking off. The 45.31. Sean Rance on course. .45.31, Sean Rance Sr. He's running the 4500 Yukon gear and axle class. It's a very competitive class. Sean Rance on course for his KMC qualifier. And it's going to be very close between all three that have ran that class so far. Chuck Crossland, Robert Croy, and Travis Riley are right around that 139 mark. So we'll see where Sean Rance lands with that Bronco front body. He's got a fast time in the 4500 Yukon gear and axle class. It's going to be close. He may set the fast time. So he's going to be right around that one. 139.23. So that could be the KMC Hard Charger unofficially. It's going to be really close for all those guys. Off the line, looks like a Jimmy's chassis, the 135. I believe that's Ian Cotengus. Sorry. So we've got lots of action on course. Thank you everybody for putting up with me, having fun with me, keeping tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. We are qualifying the KMC Hard Charger for tomorrow's 2019 PCI Race Radios Rampage at Ridgecrest in the Mojave Desert. It's been hot. He gets a little off course there, takes a little bump. Ian's pushing hard. He's in a solid axle 4400 Unlimited car. $132.02 for Ian. That'll put him mid-pack. Looks like that's going to be John Grounds, I believe, in the Daystar machine. Chatted with him a little bit this morning. He's having fun. Yes, that's definitely John Grounds, number 4570 in his TJ Jeep, running the 4500 Yukon gear and axle class. Texas Jesus giving the countdown. 3, 2, 1. John Grounds in his Daystar powered Jeep, hot on course. Having a lot of fun this year. Looks like he's pushing hard. He's always run strong in that 4500 class. John Grounds in his Jeep TJ out there, running his KMC qualifying run, getting squared away for tomorrow's afternoon race. He had a little bit of overheating issues when they were pre-running yesterday, so they were checking out everything this morning. Hopefully they got it dialed in. He's running a 6.2 LS motor in there. He put a new tune and it is running good, he says. John Grounds still pushing hard, heading towards those PCI checkered flags. So you can see there's a couple different lines heading down that hill. And then they join back into one. So John Grounds with an 1:43.82 for an unofficial time for John Grounds. Up next, looks like Albert Contreras, I believe, 4605, Gin Wright sponsored Jeep. He's in the 4600 Spider Trax stock class, Fury Off-Road. He's another fun guy that's been racing in the stock class for a few years, and he's just a great guy to have in the Ultra 4 family. Albert Contreras out of Compton, California. He puts a lot of time and effort in this Jeep. He's hoping to qualify well for tomorrow's race. Hoping to get that KMC Hard Charger award so he can get his entry fee reimbursed. So I believe Albert's the third stock class in the Spider Trax stock class to go. I did miss the time on Dawson, but Josh Atterbury with a 1:44 unofficial. And I think every single vehicle in this stock class is a Jeep. They're one of our main sponsors. Pretty cool to see them out there. Albert still pushing hard all the way to the finish line. So we'll get an unofficial time for Albert Contreras here momentarily. Oh, and a huge roll at the finish line. Terrible luck for Albert. Oh, no. We'll get the Hammer King safety crew there. Huge, huge roll for Albert Contreras. We'll wait for the thumbs up. Driver is okay. Driver is okay. Albert Contreras, huge roll at the finish line. Must have hit a bush or something just wrong, but driver is okay from the Hammer King safety crew. Terrible, terrible luck. Pushed a little bit too hard. Co-driver does give the thumbs up. So driver and co-driver are okay. So we're going to take a quick break in the action to make sure Albert and his co-driver are okay. So while we do have a break in the action, we'll give a little love to some of our sponsors. So of course we have Nitto, the title sponsor for King of the Hammers. PCI Radio is the sponsor of this race. LaserNut is the West Series sponsor, and they do all of our trophies. Jeeps are all over out here. Monster Energy. 4 Wheel Parts is the Eastern Series sponsor. KMC is the qualifying sponsor. Yukon is the 4500 class sponsor. Spider Trax is the 4600 stock class sponsor. Brannick is the 4800 Legends class sponsor. Can-Am is the 4900 UTV class sponsor. The Fab School with the Manufacturer's Cup. Savvy, Jen Wright doing the course experience. Griffin Radiator has been with us from the very first year. KMC Wheels, King Shocks, Action Sports Canopy, Amada, Amsoil, ARB, ESOB, Factor 55, Holly EFI, MBRP, Metal Cloak, Method Wheels for the UTV, Optima Battery, RCV is the UTV axle. Renegade Race Fuel is on site. Make sure to visit Reno Tahoe during the Nationals. I'm sitting in one of the nice RVs right now from Share My Coach. Squatch Box, American Fastback, Big O Dodge, Box O Tools, Buggy Whips, Off the Grid, Pro Eagle, PRP Seats, Titan Fuel Tanks. They've done the UTV Cross Country Series alongside of SRRS. So a huge shout out to all those guys. Without those guys supporting us, we couldn't be here. So support who supports the sport. Tough, tough break for Albert Contreras. He looks like he's going to have a long night ahead of him. Looks like that cage took a pretty good hit, but that's why they're there. But we've got our Hammer King safety crew right there, quick on the scene. So this is the 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. We're racing alongside of Moore and Snore. Our next race is the 4-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship. This is the last race of the LaserNut Western Series. There's tomorrow's lineup, so be sure to tune in. Like I said, literally dusk till dawn. It's going to be a long, fun day of racing. I hope my voice will last all day tomorrow. We'll tell, but I will apologize now. There's tomorrow's start-finish line. You can see all of our flags not moving at all. Those are all of our great sponsors, so thanks to each and every one of those flags. All those sponsors do a great job. There's our producer, Dan Campbell, right there. And at the bottom of the screen, you can see our live drone, Adam. He's the piloting that thing. And there's his shot as we speak, hovering above.
Albert's all right. I think it's more than just a recovery. Also concerned.
And how cool is next year going to be? The 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers. We're going to have so much going on. We're going to have the UTVs, the Everyman Challenge, the Shootout, the T1 trucks, the motos are back. And then Friday, the big day, the 4400 Unlimited, guys. We'll have live entertainment. We'll have all the sponsors. Last year, Amada had their huge laser on site. I assume they'll be bringing that back. But if you've never been to King of the Hammers, it's bucket list material. The first year when I came to King of the Hammers back in 09, I told my wife Bailey that, hey, this is a bucket list thing. I've got to come. And I came, and I haven't missed a year since. So it's a lot of fun out there. They build a city out in the middle of the desert, no water, no electricity. And I've heard numbers, anywhere from 50 to 75,000 people on the lake bed. There's the dates right there, January 31st through February 9th in Johnson Valley, California. Like I said, it's about 2 hours south of here at Ridgecrest. The 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers. That is going to be one awesome week. I absolutely can't wait. That was one of my favorite weeks of the year. That'll be my 9th year working with the live show crew. It'll be my 12th year attending King of the Hammers. It's a lot of fun out there. So like I said, if you've got plenty of advance, get with the boss, put some vacation time, and make it out to Johnson Valley in February. We've got a great team behind us. Thanks to everybody at Hammer King Productions, Hammer King Safety Crew. Alan, thanks for the info back home. We're still getting Albert checked out. Make sure everybody's okay. Again, it is safety first. We need to get these guys going, but we need to make sure everybody's okay. And for those that are just joining, you saw Albert's Jeep right there. He took a terrible roll, but driver and co-driver are okay. Thank you for staying tuned in. Thanks for just tuning in. This is the KMC qualifier for tomorrow's 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. So we're getting everything lined out. Just making sure everybody is okay. Making sure the Hammer King safety crew's getting the course cleared, getting Albert's Jeep back out of the way, back to safety. We've got Rescue 3 on site, making sure everybody's okay. So it looks like next off the line's number 54, Mike Bad Daddy Boo, patiently awaiting. And he was almost ready to take off when Albert took that little tumble. So that's just what goes through your mind right there is, you know, you're strapped in, you got your helmet, your motor's running, you're hot, you're ready to take off, and then you see Albert, you know, take his little tumble. He is okay, but now he's just got to sit there in anticipation. What's going through his mind? You know, he was ready to go, and now he's got to take a little time out, kind of regroup himself. You can see the shadows. The sun is starting to set. But through the PCI radios, it does sound like everybody is okay. And if you do follow us, ULTRA4 Racing, on Facebook, you've noticed that we're having the fans nominate for the most iconic driver, and we'll release those top 10 prior to KOH. So get in there and vote for your favorite driver. We got lots of stuff behind the scenes, lots of action going with the build-up to the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers. We're going to do the top 10 iconic drivers. We'll also be doing the top 10 cars and the top 10 moments. So be sure to follow along Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to keep up with all that information. We still have a lot of cars to qualify today. But right now, still sitting in that hot spot is JP Gomez. There's a great aerial view. Kind of the bottom left, you can see all those flags. That's right where I'm sitting.
Switching batteries real quick.
So another huge shout out to the Hammer King safety crew getting Albert handled, making sure everybody's okay. He took a terrible tumble if you're just tuning in, but him and co-driver are okay. A little shook up, but that's to be expected. Making sure everybody's back in their position so you can see how many cars we still have lined up, and the sun is starting to set. Up next, number 54, Mike Bad Daddy Boo. So I hear on my PCI radio, race director JT is going to sweep the course, make sure everything's going. We should have action here very soon. Mike Boo is in a single seat IFS machine. That is Tom Way's old car. Mike's out of Northern California area. He's been racing with us a long time. He races a lot of the NorCal series along with ULTRA4. What a great view of this desert floor. Look, I mean, all those are campers. There's not much out here, but it is a very cool place to come out and play in the desert. Again, we're going through our social media, so be sure to hashtag and tag everybody. Cool to see everybody joining in on the social media. ULTRA4racing.com/live. Get on the King of the Hammers Facebook, the ULTRA4 Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc.
Tony, the moon will rise like right over here, I think. Yeah. Did you see where it rose last night?
It was.
So if you tag ULTRA4, you could see one of your
I feel like it was the opposite
Instagram or Facebook post on the webcast this weekend.
That'd be cool.
We'll be doing this off and on during
7 o'clock
breaks.
Yesterday, so.
Moon came up at 7.
Yeah, so 10 minutes it'll rise like right over there.
Right as that's going down.
Yeah. Maybe it'll provide.
Looks like that's the battle in the bluegrass out in Kentucky. That's Josh Blyler at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. Looks like that's Levi Shirley. And it looks like going in, it could get a little dark out there tonight, so they may be using some of those rigid industry lights that could play a factor. Have to light up the desert. One of our that is our official light sponsor, Rigid. They make an excellent product. Everybody's patiently awaiting, but I think we're moments away to live qualifying. This is the KMC qualifier for tomorrow's 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. I'm Miles Hasselquist. I'll be with you the rest of the night and all day long tomorrow. So stay tuned in, ultra4racing.com/live. Hit our Facebook, hit our Instagram. Mike Bad Daddy Boo, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hot on course. Single seat IFS machine. number 54 out of Northern California. He might be an old man, but he likes to drive hard. So we'll see if Mike Boo can bump out JP Gomez out of the hot seat. Currently, he is the KMC hard charger. Mike Boo on course. And you can see it's getting dark on that back section. And then as they crest over the hill, they'll be looking directly into the sun. It is starting to go down. We'll see if that plays an issue or not. Mike Boo pushing hard. Looking for a fast run. That is a fast car, and Mike Boo's pushing hard. We'll get an unofficial time from him any second. 1:45.22 unofficially for Mike Boo. A little bit off course. Looks like up next is going to be 86. I believe that's Marcos Gomez. In the Ugly Duck UFO Joe Thompson built machine. That is an IFS IRS machine. You can see the back end working good. Part of Gomez Brothers Racing. Another Nitto athlete. So Marcos Gomez on course, the last of the three Gomez brothers. But we still have Darian Gomez qualifying in his UTV later on. These guys love to play out in the desert. All three of these cars are very similar. You can see the dust is starting to play a little bit of a toll on him. See his lights kind of glaring off that little dust section there. He had to check up just a tick, but he's back on the throttle. And those Nitto tires are really putting down some traction. As Marcos heads towards the PCI checkered flag, we'll get an unofficial time from him any minute. (1:35.82). So JP Gomez is still safe sitting in that hot seat. The KMC hard charger fastest lap of the day with a 1:14.19. Up next, I believe, is John Snell, number 4671. In the 4600 Spider Trax stock class. John Snell running his paces. What a great view. And look, the wind is not blowing at all in that back section. It's kind of stuck over that hill. John Snell's a little off pace. Misses the course just a tick. Yeah, I think he's off course. Yes, he is. having to kind of snake back to the course. That was unintentional, obviously.
It's already happening and it's not even dark.
John Snell back on course in his Jeep Cherokee. Nitto Tire sponsored machine. John Snell getting ready to finish his KMC qualifying run. Like I said, he got off course a little bit, got a little lost, so that'll add some time. With an unofficial time of 2:21.41. Up next is 4696, Sean McNamara, Poor Boys Racing. He is in the 4600 Spider Trax stock class, another Jeep Cherokee. And look at the line of cars we still have yet to qualify. We've got another probably hour or so of qualifying, it looks like. The dust is starting to settle. The wind is not blowing hardly at all right now. Remember, these guys will be taking off at 6 in the morning, the 4600 and the 4900s, along with the some of the Moore and Snore guys. So they've got an early wake-up call. So set your alarm, get some coffee rolling in the morning, and join us. It's going to be a dusty day tomorrow.
Definitely JT's fault.
Yeah, totally.
All fans are listening. If you grab a couple sports, I'll shut it down and send it home right now. You guys can't just give us all the break. This is all coming in. I mean, really?
Trying to get the course cleared, the Hammer King crew. So Sean McNamara will be taking the green flag. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sean McNamara. Poor Boys Racing, they just swapped motors yesterday. They had a fairly built motor and it had some issues, so they put a junkyard motor in yesterday and then had to re-put a rear main seal in either late last night or early this morning. But it's running and they're going, so great to see all their efforts. They're local to Ridgecrest. So he's running in the 4600 Spider Trax stock class. Thank you for everybody staying tuned in, ULTRA4racing.com/live. This KMC qualifying's been a lot of fun. And Sean blows through the corner a little bit, takes a big old hop. That back corner's really getting blown out. Another Jeep Cherokee. Look at that dust. It is proving to be an issue, and that's only one car on the course at a time. Well, just think about how heavy that dust is going to be tomorrow. Hopefully we get some wind during the day. The wind is the racer's friend. Sean McNamara, Poor Boys Racing, 4696, crossing the PCI flag now. 2:03:53 unofficially. So I think Josh Atterbury and Dawson Allington are sitting 1-2. Not sure exactly which order. There's 311 Dustin Robinson. He's out of Alabama, but he stores that car out on the West Coast. And a funny little backstory for Dustin Robinson. He stores his car in the Sacramento area and then flies in, grabs a U-Haul truck, loads all his parts and his razor in it, and brings it onto the races. Number 311, Dustin Robbins. I believe that's an old Guthrie UTV. He owns all things UTV. Dustin's really pushing hard in that 311 machine. He's running the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. $134.56 unofficially for Dustin Robbins. But I believe it's still Lauren Healy sitting in that hard charger spot. Up next, the 4819 of Jesse Lee. So Jesse Lee, the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class on course. Those are a lot of those of the retired 4400 cars. They have to have a single shock per corner, maximum of a 37-inch DOT tire, straight axle in the front, 2 seats side by side. Those are the main rules I can remember. But Jesse Lee on course, 4819. The sun is starting to set. The dust is getting thick, but we are hot in action. For qualifying for the KMC Hard Charger Award, getting everything set up for tomorrow's 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. We go live at 6 a.m. Pacific Time, 8 a.m. Central Time. Be sure to tune in all day long. It's going to be a long, fun day of racing. Remember, we're going to have the Moore and the Snore cars mixed in with everybody. We'll have 2 separate races, one from 6 till roughly noon, one from roughly 1 till 8. So it's going to be a long, fun day. Lots of cars on course. 1:39.16 unofficial time for Jesse Lee. Up next, I believe, is the 91 Alex Wacker in his Tribe 16 IFS machine, with Josh England riding shotgun. They're out of Texas. There is a lot going out on course, and they're having fun with it. Number 91, Alex Wacker. Wacker's heading to that back section. We'll see how this back corner's treating everybody. It's got a little bit of dust. Looks like he's backfiring a lot. So that thing's running a little bit rich when he backs off the throttle. It's kind of cool to see at night. But he's still all over the throttle, pushing hard. Look how tore up that back corner's getting. That Tribe 16 IFS two-seat machine's really running good. Alex Wacker's been running with us quite a while. He's also got a 6100 truck he's been running. He loves to play in the desert. It was first come, first serve for qualifying. So we'll get a time for him. Unofficially, a 1:33.29 for Alex Wacker. Up next, I believe, is going to be Arturo Soria, 4898. Looks like that's an old spec class car. He's running it in the Legends class, obviously, the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Arturo Soria. And that was yesterday. He was out pre-running and took it for a little tumble. He was having some shock issues and tumbled the car pretty good, but the car held up great, and he's here to qualify for today's KMC Hard Charger. He did a long road trip last year, or maybe earlier this year or last year, to pick up that car. So it's still fairly new to him, but he's getting everything dialed in. That dust is getting thick. The sun is setting. They're going to be needing those rigid lights. We still have quite a few cars to go. Hopefully we can get them all fit in. Look at that beautiful sunset. 2.5 hours northeast of LA.
Yeah, I don't know if that was nice and rolled or. You saw a picture of his cage? Yeah, live feed. Yeah, his live feed, I think. It was bad. Cage looked in a critical spot.
Yeah, the guy that just shot it texted me and said that was the craziest shot he's ever got.
Really?
Looks like Texas Jesus is given the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Arturo Soria heading out for his KMC qualifier. A-OK. 48.8. Scott here shortly. You can see him heading on it towards the PCI finish flags. Scott Lesage with an unofficial time of 1:37.20. 966. George lies just a little bit. So dust is proving to be an issue this evening. As the sun is going down, they'll have to use those rigid lights. Great aerial pan. George Lisenberry taking the green flag. Now heading out for his 4,900 Can-Am test. So we'll get a time for Lisenberry here very shortly. Unofficially a 1:33.87. That may be one of those new Hondas. I can't quite tell. If so, it may be Caprera. I think Brian's racing that one.
I think we will take a drink. We're out of drinks.
What do you want? Water, Gatorade?
Whatever you have the most of. But what would you like?
We're waiting for the dust to settle.
Thanks so much.
No lights.
Yeah.
You guys part of the crew or? No, just come out here.
Sickest silhouette shot. Looks rad. You look rad, Jesus.
He looks
For a second, I thought he was breastfeeding.
Thank you again, everybody back home, for staying tuned in. Ultra4Racing.com/live.
Just tour with them or?
Tuning on to Facebook,
I work for ULTRA4, so I go to the region.
YouTube, live stream. Hit up our Instagram and Twitter.
Honestly,
Show some love. Hit that share button. Tag us.
doing interviews.
Hashtag it up.
Some of the start finish. Then occasionally I went out to Fall Hammer.
There's a dude on Jack North working the cable. That kind of looks like.
Yeah, it wasn't me. That He was setting it up. It was Dan. He's here. He's Australian.
Sounds like the course is clear. And I believe this is the 9901. And yes, I think that is a brand new Honda Talon driven by Brian Caprera. Brian and Chase have a Can-Am and that new Honda, and they're kind of battling back and forth who's going to drive which, so I'm not sure exactly who's in that machine. But that is one of the Capreras. Father and son team taking off into the night. This is the KMC qualifying run. And you can tell there he's running no headlights, so that's a little tricky with the sun going down. But the course is pretty burned in. It's marked very well. But this corner is the tricky one, so he's got to be a little bit careful. Caprera running pretty strong with no headlights. It's a brand new machine with very little run time, so it's pretty cool to see them out here putting it through its paces, see what they can do. It's fun to add another maker to the mark. So Caprera with an unofficial time of 1:37:33. Unofficial time for Caprera in the 9901 machine. And it's hard to tell, but that looks like the Can-Am UTV of Caprera. So I believe this will be Chase. If I'm not mistaken, he won the Mexico UTV race down there. So he's got a lot of... There's a cool view of Ridgecrest in the long background. I think as the crow flies, that's roughly 8 miles, but it takes roughly 20 minutes to drive there.
The last UTV is here, staged, ready to start. I guess it's just a bit. I have a 4800 that's requesting qualify.
Thank you everybody for staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. This is the 2019 PCI Race Radio's Rampage at Ridgecrest. Ultra4 has teamed up with Moore and Snore, 3 sanctioned bodies of racing all joined together. It's gonna be a fun day tomorrow. And that's the same screen you guys are seeing at home, so it's kind of hard for me to tell who it is with it getting dark like this, but I do believe that's Chase Caprera. So Chase Caprera on course, I believe, for his KMC qualifier. Fastest lap of the day still is JP Gomez.